I only dyed it 2 weeks ago. Comes out already. But I'm
What happened?
55, darling. It's completely grey.
I got more gray than you probably.
No, but I'm dyeing mine, darling. Look.
Uh,
All right. Are we doing a hair commercial now?
yes.
I mean,
Are
you
you
could,
recording for a hair
but no,
commercial?
we could also talk about, something less depressing or vain.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah,
not. It's
yeah.
not depressing. It's very natural.
It's
Aging,
really good.
sickness, and death. You know.
Oh,
Yeah.
joy.
Yeah.
What a wonderful thing to How about that beautiful moon? Did you see the beautiful hunter's
Yeah.
moon?
It drove everyone insane. Yeah. It drove myself insane and my autistic son insane. But yeah, I saw it. It was beautiful.
Oh, yeah, I got up specifically at 4 in the morning to take some photos of it because it comes
Oh
through in
yeah.
the garden, and it was like, oh, hello, moon, hello.
It seems like there was a full moon for the last 3 days. It seems like I'm probably wrong, but I don't even know if that's possible. But every time I look in the sky, it's another full moon.
Yeah.
Well, they said we had 2 moons at one point.
Oh yeah.
There's
We have 2 moons right now. We have that like satellite moon, and then next month also a super moon, which is probably why it looked like that we had a full moon for so many days because of the super moon.
Jeez.
So it's supposed to be the same thing next month.
That's
And
Cool.
the moons that are supposed to make you freak out are supposed to like interact with your chart. That's usually how you could tell if a full moon's going to
oh
bother you.
yeah. It was my birthday month recently.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Wow.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's crazy.
That's interesting.
I always find that interesting too. I always go, okay, well, maybe that's why all this stuff about like the full moon not affecting people gets like whatever brought up as bunk science because it's only supposed to affect like 10%, 20% of the population at the time. But like 20% of people being affected by something is still pretty intense.
Yes.
Mm. I guess it
That's
depends on how your energy at the time, if it affects you in a good way or a bad way.
Yeah, it's
mm,
supposed to. The full moon when a moon bothers you, when any body bothers you, it's supposed to be like how it interacts with your natal chart will indicate if you're bothered. But I never got that deep into it because then you spend all your time just looking at charts trying to figure out when to do things, and it's
Yeah, I listen to Missy's astrology on here. I think she's in Vegas, so she does a post every day about what's going on, and she's really
yeah.
good. So but it's by 7 hours has already passed. So I think, oh, actually, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
And she's the expert on it, so I just listen to her.
I get it. Same thing over here
But
with
she's
like,
good.
yeah, it's crazy how good these people get at like mundane stuff over the years. But I guess if you do anything that often, you get good at it.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, it's wild.
that's true.
It's wild. It's wild the amount of things that astrologers will predict, and then everyone goes, "Oh no, it's bunk." It's like, I don't know how bunk it is. Does it seem unlikely? Yes, but also, if you look into it, it's scary.
Yeah,
Anyway,
definitely.
so what are we talking about today? What are we recording for today?
no reason. Just Dhamma stuff. Just simple Dhamma practice stuff. Breathing, joy, friendship, simplicity. No reasons. Reasons, yet no reasons.
Yes.
You got the giggles. You still got the giggles from earlier, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What happened earlier? I feel out of the loop.
Oh, she was saying, how's it going? And I said, good. And I started like erupting in laughter. Because it's been a crazy couple of weeks, but it's good. Very good.
Yeah, sometimes they do. Laughter is the best medicine. And so you can either laugh or cry. You may as well laugh. It's much better for your spleen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
laughing, crying.
And
Crying feels good sometimes too. A nice cry.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
There's this one therapist I heard on a radio show like many years ago, and it wasn't the therapist talking, it was just one of his patients. The therapist passed away, but he was recalling his old therapist that he liked that passed away, and he was saying one of the best pieces of advice he ever gave him was, he's trying to figure his way out of all these situations, dramatic, sad situations, and the therapist was just like, you know what I do sometimes when I feel sad? I'll just grab a rag, put my head in the rag, and just cry as much as I fucking can. And he's like, whether it takes 10 minutes or an hour, I just let it ride. And he's like, sure enough, after I always feel a lot better. It's good to get it out sometimes.
mm.
Yeah.
Oh, I love a good cry. That's what I'll put on a soppy movie. I was
That's what I was
watching.
gonna ask. How do you
What did
guys
I watch
make
the other?
yourselves cry?
Oh, yeah. A movie.
I put on soppy movies easily. I'll be bawling my eyes out in 2 seconds flat.
Hmm.
Same.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's got their trigger movies that just,
Mm,
there's thousands of them. How could there not be for each human? They probably have 5 or 10 movies
yeah.
that
Definitely.
can make them sad.
Yeah.
That's okay. A lot of
But we
our
can do happy. We
What's
do
that, Len?
happy. Let's do happy.
Let's do
Happy.
happy. Oh,
Let's do happy. Come on.
yeah. Sometimes we got to go above sad and happy.
Yeah.
Sometimes we got to see them that they're both two different sides of the same coin.
Mm.
Hang on to either of them, and you might end up in Duca. But that's okay too.
Yeah. Good point. Good
Even if you end
point.
up in Duca, that's okay. And what is
Mhm.
Duca? Dissatisfaction. Always chasing, a chasing mind. Always chasing something. Restlessness.
Mm.
That's why it may seem funny. Dhammarato used to be one of my teachers, if you're not familiar. Um, he's still kicking. Last time I checked, he's still kicking. Um, but he would say he would always get so detailed with how you speak, how you talk, the position of your body, like the old Buddhist monks kind of do. Although
Mm.
he's an ex-Buddhist monk, but still. And it's so easy to overlook those simple things. And they're not rules. They're just guidelines. But the devil is in the details. Why do you see some Buddhists and they're speaking softly and slowly? Like, perfect example, Thich Nhat Hanh.
Mm.
Once you can assess that it's not just pretension, they're actually earnestly practicing, then it's easier to see that why are they doing this? It's because the mind is wild. It wants to run away every moment. It wants to chase things like a ravenous dog. And our thoughts, feelings, emotions, they're like rabbits. Or even crazier, a better example would be if you have a ravenous dog and it's going after chasing clouds in the sky that look like cats or look like other animals. It's just as ridiculous. That's why
Now I
silence.
got the giggles.
That's okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm just because I like watching clouds, and I'm like, oh, that one looks like Snoopy. Oh, look, there's a cat. He's going to chase the cloud. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm like the crazy dog chasing the clouds.
yeah. We all are. Well, not we all are. Our minds are.
Mm.
Our minds
Mm.
all are. You know, and a lot of practitioners spend a lot of time trying to break the mind, breaking by like you would break a spirited horse. And that's a good word usage too, because I feel it's important to make the distinction between trying to control the mind, break the mind, and taking shelter in the breath and letting the mind be when it's in chaos. You know, Nietzsche, the philosopher, he said, life is a will to power and nothing besides. And I tend to agree with him from a psychological standpoint. Everything you see in movies is, from Greek mythology to modern day Marvel movies that are becoming very popular, even supervillains and stuff like the Joker. What do they all have in common? A lot of them are extremely powerful. They make a decision and it happens in reality. And what does that tell us? That our art is reflecting our unconscious mind. We all want control. Call it by any name. We want to control time. We want to control our environment. We want to control others. We want to control ourselves, our mind. And the ironic joke of the universe is that try as we might, we cannot control our mind. We cannot beat it until it submits to us. The only thing we can do is take shelter in the breath and let the storm of the mind pass. Taking shelter here and now, letting the storm of the mind pass. Realizing that it's just a natural phenomenon, that it comes and it arises and falls. But we take it to be ourselves. We take it seriously, we take it personally, and we go chasing it. It's like a crazy man outside trying to beat a storm with a metal shovel. You're not going to win. You're not going to beat the storm. The storm is not going to submit to you. And that's how the mind is. But a lot of people getting mixed up in spirituality, they're all about the art of beating that storm into submission. And they're misleading themselves. They're misleading others. The mind is the mind.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. Sorry.
Was that left? No, go ahead.
I was just saying, when you're saying that, I've seen it because there's a lot of new, people on Instagram, you need to do this, this, and this, and this. And I'm reading it and I'm going, yeah, you just hashtag that and what rubbish. You're just trying to pull in people. You're not actually really giving them anything they can work with, because you can't say, oh, I'm going to do this, 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 and this, if you've never done it before.
If it worked, we'd all be doing it. If money
exactly.
worked,
I mean, it's like I always say to people with fitness, you can't go from not walking to doing a 5K, because you might make it, but you'll be so exhausted or you injured yourselves and you put yourself back before you even started. But it's this, you're right, chase for this, chase for that, chase for this. Hello.
Hi, Judy.
Hi.
Hiya.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Hi.
Sorry for joining in late.
It's okay.
Right. Better late than never.
Yeah. We were just talking about can we control the mind? And the mind is just, like Ajahn Chah used to say, if you spend your life trying to turn a duck into a chicken and a chicken into a duck, you're going to spend a life in misery, banging your head against the wall. Trying to change nature, a duck is a duck and a chicken is a chicken. The mind is a chaotic, hell-suffering mess. It all prove me wrong. Since we've been born, has this mind been nothing but chaos and suffering? Yes, there's good and joy and stuff, but generally speaking, if you put it all together, it's just it's a lump of chaos. It's a lump of dukkha. Since we were babies, we know this. And it hasn't changed. It never will change. That's the nature of the beast. So we take shelter in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. And it doesn't have to be a religious take shelter in the Buddha. It can be Pan. It can be nature. It can be the universe. Whatever you want to call it. I don't care. It could be Krishna. It can be Hanuman. Whatever. But basically, you're taking shelter in peace in the moment, here and now. Whether you believe in God or not, this is where God resides, here and now. Dogen Zenji said, if you cannot find peace right where you sit, right where you are, where do you expect to find it?
Very true. Yeah.
And we have these bad habits. We can't sit still. We can't sit still in a quiet room by ourselves. It's a tragedy of man. The false assumption that always something must be done. Always a ladder to climb, a mountain to climb, a race to run. It's all bullshit. You can climb mountains, you can run races, but see them for what they are. Have the wisdom, Panya, to see them for what they are, which is anicca, dukkha, anatta. They're fading. If we cling on to them, it'll only cause more dukkha. So there's no need to cling to anything. Yeah. Anybody else have anything they want to talk about? Dhamma related?
What
Judy,
you got for us, Judy?
yeah, what are you saying, Judy? I heard you. Are you on mute? I can't hear you. Oh, she may be at work or something.
Sorry.
Oh, there you are.
No, I had a question here.
Yeah.
So is our main goal here to let go of the mind and just be nothing?
Yeah, in a manner of
It's an
speaking.
okay goal.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It's interesting that you bring up Dom Hirado and a lack of change in the same conversation.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what it was, but I know in the Clear Mountain Monastery, I think that's what it was. The Clear Mountain Monastery Discord. Oh, maybe it wasn't. I think it was them. Someone posted like a book excerpt a few months ago. From assumedly a Buddhist book or a book by someone who proclaims to be Buddhist, given where it was shared. But it was very clear about, it's okay to like redirect the mind, and in fact important as far as the process of like change that like thick nut dick nun
Thich Nhat
hot.
Hanh?
Yeah.
I think I can never
He's
pronounce
always,
that either.
that's the one that all of the psychology whatever they are always quoting. Yes, him, as far as like nurturing bad seeds versus good seeds. The idea is like redirecting the mind when it's on the unwholesome. Very like strictly. I think the imagery they used was like beating your brain with a brush until it's not having the unwholesome thoughts anymore, because I guess you've gotten to a place where you can identify the unwholesome versus the wholesome. And in that it's like, no, that is, I mean, I guess it's not change, it's redirection. But after like practicing redirection so often, the idea is that it becomes like steady chain, like whatever, like a new habit. And so you have essentially you have changed your brain, whatever programming, to just not go there as easy.
Changing our attention.
Yeah, kind of.
From
Ignore this thought. This is not a wholesome thought. Nothing is more wholesome than this thought that I'm having. Let's not entertain it.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah.
I thought it was interesting too, and it was very helpful. I end up saying a lot now, but like, yeah, interrupt the thought until it cannot seem to take root anymore.
Yeah. I suppose it's like go away, naughty child. No, not now, naughty child. Go away. Naughty child, go away.
I do a lot of singing back at it. This is not a wholesome thought. Stop it. Stop it right now. This is nope.
Mind you, I do that to myself sometimes. It's like, no, don't have another drink. No, don't eat anything else. Go to bed. You don't need any more food. Go to bed, Christina.
Yeah. I think habits are a lot like actual, like, whatever. We're technically addicted to eating. I think those kinds of habits are a little more difficult to use it on. I think they're more the idea was more like, oh, I'm upset about this situation. Like, don't think about it until it's like something you can't ignore kind of thing. But so I don't know how much success you'd have with like bad habits. It definitely hasn't helped my smoking habit at all. But it's
just about
like,
just made a rolly.
yeah, exactly. It's always like anger and outbursts though, like and like frustration at like circumstance. It's been helpful. But I guess also I have been smoking less technically, so it has helped there too.
Well,
Very good.
I don't know. I mean, I try to reward if I've been for a long walk, because I love to walk a lot, and then I reward myself. I can sit down and have a cigarette now.
Yes,
because
that
I've
was
checked,
more
I've checked
stop
my
the
my
cancer.
lung capacity is 100. Okay, lungs are well. Come on, girl.
I get it.
Which is not great, I know, but mind you, there's so much toxins and pollution in the air. At least this is first-hand pollution.
Yeah.
That's my excuse, and I'm staying with that forever.
Hopefully you never like have cancer or something. You don't have to think, or COPD. You don't have to think about it. But plenty of people do, right? They smoke their whole lives.
I know.
0 problems.
Yeah. Yeah. I train with Taoist masters, so I mean, but they already did Buddhism training as well. And that was, you're talking about the mind. It was like empty mind. One of my archer friends does it. He's called empty mind archery, and he finds it very good for people. They practice archery because they have to they can only focus on what they're doing. So it empties the mind of anything else. So you're focusing on one thing only.
Yeah. Honestly,
and that,
even though it's slightly off topic, I feel like sometimes that's like why people get addicted to sex too. It's a task where you have to have a single, right? Like you have to be that focused to accomplish a task. That's why it happens, right? Like, and I don't think anyone ever connects that like this is the only time
you're
where
very
I'm
much like
completely
me.
focused in on it.
Yeah, like the Zen archers too, Dhammarato used to say when they're aiming, I don't know how your friend does it, but he was saying like when they're aiming at the target, they'll be very aware of everything, the placement of their fingers, obviously, looking at it, trying to get it on point. But then once they said that the arrow leaves the bow, they'll turn their back on it because they don't care if they hit it because it's out of their control. The arrow has fled.
Yeah.
It's up to God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. And that's really a nice example of how we can live our lives too. It's like nobody has the perfect answers, but in the physical reality, if a problem occurs, we just try our best, and the rest is let it be. It's up to God or whatever,
Yeah, I kind of go like that. I've had because I'm trying to sell my house. I've got stressful at the moment. It's trying to sell my house. I've got to do this, that, and the other, and then obviously moving to another country again. And I keep going, right, why hasn't that happened? And I just go out the door and I'm like, okay, God, I'm leaving it in your hands. I'm going for a walk.
Yeah.
It will come. And that practice that you told me about, just focusing on the breath, just while I'm walking, just literally looking at the end of my nose, watching it. And that really helps calm the mind amazingly. Really helped me. So thank you so much for that.
Oh yeah, no problem. And if it doesn't help calm the mind, it's always not going to be right away. But it's not that that's calming the mind. The mind by itself will change. Like the Buddha said, everything changes. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. We're just waiting around until it changes with the breath and the realization that everything's fine outside of the mind. We're not the mind. Everything's okay here and now. You're in a room, you're wherever. 9 times out of 10, there isn't, like he always says, tigers attacking you or robbers getting you, And that's where we take our refuge.
I was saying to a friend today, I said, look how lucky we are. She was saying about something. I said, look, we got a roof over our heads. We got food to eat, got friends to talk to. We're blessed compared to, so many other people. They have nothing. Yeah. So we're incredibly blessed and lucky, I think. Excuse me 1 minute. I just need to
no, go ahead.
Yeah. What do you think, Judy? Do you do gratitude lists? Do they help you?
I don't have a gratitude list, but I had a very different experience. Just trying to contemplate what I really had. Master Dhamma, I always wanted to connect with you and ask you what really happened with me. But so I went to Tiruvannamalai, and I was at the ashram looking at Ramana picture for quite some time. And while I was turning back from
Ramakrishna's?
Ramana Mahashri,
Oh, okay. And
Mm.
Aranuthala,
and while
Aranachala?
yeah, I'd been there. And then I stayed there for 3 days. And while I was returning back, I was traveling back in the bus. And I really can't explain what really happened to me. I felt something in my heart just open, and I could
Yeah.
see different realities, the dream world where we are now, and then the other side. So I don't know which is the true side here. I mean, I felt where I am now is a dream, and I just woke up from the dream, and after I got back to Bangalore, that disappeared. So I had a glimpse of what exactly
Hmm.
Ramana to me in my heart. He came to my heart and he spoke something which I really can't put it across through words. So it was a very different experience, and I really don't know what really happened there.
Yeah, do you know who H.W.L. Punja is?
No.
They also call him Papaji.
Oh yeah,
Papaji.
yes.
Yeah, Papaji. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
he was a student of Ramana Maharshi, and one day, to help answer your question a little bit, one day he went to Ramana Maharshi and he said,
I just want to say another thing here.
"Yeah, yeah, go ahead."
At one moment, I felt, while my heart opened, I felt I was God. It
Mm.
was, I felt I was God, and I can't explain how to, there's no words I can,
Yes.
use
Oh,
to,
lovely.
and something here just felt like a bliss, and it went away.
Mm,
I don't know if the Father and I are one. Is my purpose here to go back to Him, or just to live again in this world as normal human and have this family around me? So I don't know if I live here or go back to Arunachala, because after that experience, I quit my job. I've dropped down my papers. I'm not able to work in a normal corporate um,
In the corporate
setting.
world anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I
Uh,
left my husband. I couldn't see the fakeness that was there.
mm,
Um, a lot of things. I'm able to sense everything around me, like those emotions and their intentions before they could talk.
you're an
Um,
empath. You're an empath.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so you it's probably some. I get sometimes that I can be, and then something goes like that. Not as how you've had it, but it'd be like, oh gosh, what's going on now? No, 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 no. I don't want to hear what's going on in their mind. Yeah, it can be
Yeah,
quite. It's quite. It can be quite tiring. I find it can be a bit. Oh, hang on, what's going on? Yeah,
true. It's actually
Boss here
energy.
can help you better with that. Ask the boss.
no, boss.
Come on, boss. I call in all the men bosses now because it makes them happy when I call them boss.
Oh,
My
yeah,
partner's in the corner laughing, giggling at me.
yeah, it's interesting that you're at the Ramanashram by that mountain because his student Papaji would ask Ramana, or he told Ramana one day, Ramana, because he originally went to Ramana and Ramana said, he's like, Ramana, I want to leave my family. I want to come to you. I want to study. But he didn't have problems with his family. He loved his family, but he was showing Ramana that he was willing to give them up, blah, blah, blah. Like, like the typical Buddhists do, which is kind of silly in my opinion. But anyways, so he asked Ramana, and Ramana wisely said, like, you're an idiot, like, go take care of your family, dude. Like, you think it's spiritual to leave them in some desolate situation? And he said, okay. But after that, he became a student of Ramana. And one day he had an experience similar to yours, where he went to Ramana and said, Ramana, I was meditating on a mountain. You won't believe what happened. Krishna visited me, and he was beautiful, and there was angels, and there was rainbows, and all these things. And Ramana said, oh, Krishna visited you, huh? He's like, yes. He's like, we were one. It was wonderful. He's like, is he here now? He's like, no, it was up on that mountain. He's like, oh, then it's not important. You know?
Uh-huh.
It's not
Yeah.
that it didn't happen, and it's not that it doesn't have some inherent value, but it's just anicca dukkha anatta. You know, if something can last forever, find that which can last forever, and that is what you might be more comfortable with calling God, or what Bodhidharma, the Zen master, called our true nature, apart from the mind. And the mind and the perception and the consciousness always viewing everything, clinging onto it without realizing, because it has avidya, ignorance, that everything is anicca dukkha anatta. Even these I've had the most beautiful sensations meditating in forests and all this spectacular stuff, and they don't last. It's feelings of enlightenment, of what we think is enlightenment. These things don't last. But they can be beautiful, and that's fine to find joy in them and find some wisdom in them too, but they won't last. And that's kind of the thing, is that it's part of the mind, it's part of Maya. It's up and down. You have the hell realms, you have the heaven realms, all existing in one place. If you attach onto those feelings, you'll spend the rest of your life chasing that feeling that you had at Ramana's mountain. You know, I felt great, and then you spend a lifetime chasing that drug, just like the materialists do in the normal society.
Mm-hmm.
You had
I have
you had a
question.
beautiful experience. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I have another question.
Yeah.
I felt where only I existed, only the self existed, and whoever I saw around me was myself.
Hmm.
So if everyone around me is myself, then my family is myself. So then why should I stay with them?
You know, when we start labeling things as self or not self, it could get a little tricky. You know, that's why God gave us a brain of logic and reason. If you have a family situation that's not working out correctly, you don't need Krishna. You need logic and reason and a little bit of compassion and loving kindness. Is the situation working out for you? What steps do you have to take place in the physical realm in order to help the probability of making a better environment for yourself? These are simple things, you know. But for yourself, our true nature, plainly speaking, is just peace. But we label it peace and then we go chasing peace. But when you're smelling a beautiful flower, for example, where does the labels go? Where does peace go? Where does enlightenment go? Where does hell go? Where does anything go when you're satisfied? There's neither separation nor oneness with God in those moments of pure satisfaction. You know, and if you do attach onto a label, to a being and becoming, it won't last. It's kind of the thing. You know, whatever we cling to, it won't last. Be happy when you have those visions of Ramana and those. They're beautiful visions. But they're not going to last. The mind will go somewhere else. And that's okay. That's its nature. There's nothing wrong with this. It's actually quite lovely. That's why a lot of the Hindus call it, you know, the play of Leela, life, reality, the play of Leela. It's all just a game we don't take too seriously. So there's no need to have a self, find a true self, all these things. When we're smelling the flower, just keep that example in mind. Then when you're satisfied, Buddhism disappears, religion disappears, philosophy, atheism, all this bullshit, man, woman, all these things disappear. What I should do, what I shouldn't do, what I want to become, what I will become. I, me, my. And that's the drudge of mankind, is the I, me, my, mine. The most selfish pain in the ass people you'll ever meet, what are they obsessed with? This happened to me, and I did this, and I want to get in this, me, my, control, I want, frustration. But you meet somebody who
Yeah.
doesn't have that attachment to the ego. It doesn't mean they don't have an ego. Yeah, they have a sense of self, and that's okay. That's natural. It's part of evolution, or whatever you want to call it. But you meet
Mm.
these people, they're not obsessed with what happened yesterday. They're not obsessed with the character that they've created. Oh, I'm a Theravadan Buddhist, and I teach, and this is very important. I'm just a piece of shit. I'm just a human being. You know? The true master doesn't exist in the mind. The true master, if there ever was one, is satisfaction, peace, emptiness, and that's our true nature. You know. And even that belief,
Mm.
don't even cling on to that belief too strongly. As you go around telling everybody, no, this guy said this, you have to find your true nature. It's just a guideline.
Mm.
Temporary, like everything.
Judy, are you asking because you feel like something has to be done because you had that experience?
One moment. Let me just close the door.
And I still have just done the same thing.
I'll have to.
She's gone in. She's